and welcome on Audi's booth. We're there to discuss the future of the connected car. For many of you, maybe connectivity is just about Bluetooth and how to connect the smartphone to the car. Maybe you're familiar with CarPlay and Android Auto. But connectivity at Audi is much more than this. We're going to discuss data, software updates, a lot of connected services, AI as well. And let me please introduce you to Frédéric Roche, Chief Digital Officer at Audi France.
Hi Laurent, hi everyone.
Frédéric.
Nice to meet you. Welcome on the Audi stand.
Well, let's jump in the future of connected car world during the next 20 minutes.
Directly in the topic. Just a little bit of history. Since decades, car manufacturers are putting the car in the middle of everything. We know everything about our cars, from our production, within our IT system, and we are used to deliver cars to our retailers and our customers to use that in front of mobility. But thanks to digitalization and thanks to connected cars, we had to change our mind. We had to put the customers in the middle of everything. And this is changing almost the whole point of view of the brand, putting the customers in the middle of everything, being customer-centric, means to change the position and the vision of the car.
And connectivity at all time between the customer and the brand.
At all time, for sure. And putting the car, let's say, outside of the centric and the customer in the middle means that the car is becoming finally only a new device. Device that is used by our customers in order to manage their car, device to get in touch for our customers with our connected retailers, and device also regarding the connect mobility, everything they want to do. So customer is in the middle.
Great. Let's see data now, because it's a key point.
For sure, that's the consequences. As soon as you are putting the customer in the middle, you are considering the car as only a new device. Device means new data. And finally, the history and the story of connected cars is all about data. The challenge is clearly not on the IT side of the system. IT is able to do almost everything in 2022. But about data, that's where the challenge is. Because data are generated by the connected cars, data are to be available from the customers who are requesting scalable cars, scalable functions, and for sure, highly experienced and personalized driving experience on their day-to-day.
Tell me, do you have some objectives in terms of business? Because some car manufacturers make predictions.
For sure, regarding data, as soon as we are dealing with data, quite often we are dealing with business and money or revenue. For sure, Audi is targeting to generate business out of those data. First of all, let's say to improve the customer experience. But we are targeting also some figures. We are not dealing with millions of euros, but billions of euros. And for sure, thanks to digitalization, all this data usage has to cover the lack that will come in the next decades by selling less cars. But we will send and sell additional services about.
Let's see some examples.
Yeah, for sure. As you probably know, let's say an Audi cars, but not only Audis, is nowadays equipped with a lot of sensors. All those sensors are capturing data all together. We are not dealing with megabytes, gigabytes. We are now dealing with terabytes of data that are generated directly by a single car on a yearly basis. All those data are collected, for sure have to be used. And the main reason why, the main target is clearly to improve the customer experience. Let's have an example. Within my car, I have a lot of sensors. I know, let's say, the braking power, but I know how the brakes are used. I know, let's say, if there's any diagnostic errors into the car. And how do we facilitate the customer experience among this user journey? Let's look at an example. You probably all drove a car on a yearly basis. You probably had already, let's say, this bad experience, which is just before going on holidays. You have a yellow warning flashing directly on your screen, explaining that your car is requiring maintenance.
Sounds bad on the way to vacation, huh?
For sure, just before going for vacation, as always, the famous Murphy law. So the warning is, and you have, let's say, to get an appointment at your dealers to make the car maintained before you are going to holidays. But now, thanks to data, thanks to all these connected cars functionalities, the car is able to predict that it's going to need a maintenance within the next weeks, meaning that the car is automatically detecting the next maintenance plan. It's sending the information directly at your preferred dealer. Then you are totally changing the mind of the customers and the experience. The dealer is calling you in advance in order to fix an appointment to make your maintenance. And for sure, the dealer knows also a lot of information about you and is able, for example, to book you a replacement car in order to let you get your mobility on your day-to-day basis. So you are just changing the customer experience at the end.
So it's like health monitoring, but not with the heart. It's with the battery of components of the car.
Health of the car, exactly.
Great. Let's see what's next.
Yeah, what's next? Thanks to all the sensors, to all the connected function of the car, we are also working on product recommendations. Since thanks to all the sensors, all the data, I know much more what our customers are doing. I know where they are driving, thanks to the Navi system. I know how many passengers are in the car, thanks to the seat detection. I know if you are much more driving on the highway or directly in the traffic jam. And all those data can for sure be merged with external third-party data, for example, which could add some social demo information. Are you in couples? What are your revenue on a monthly basis? Do you have children and things like that? And by merging all those data, for sure, I'm much more able as a brand to provide my dealer the best information about who you are. And based on that, he's, for example, able to tell you if you are much more an electric car driver, plug-in hybrid one, diesel or petrol, which is, let's say, clearly the today's question of most of our customers. Since I know how many kilometers you are driving a day, I know that you are, for example, electric compliant.
You know, I have in mind the Tinder app. Usually it's to match between people, but there it's to match between a client, customer, and the car.
And the perfect match with an Audi, for sure.
Wow, impressive. Let's see another example right now.
Let's go for the next one. Also something which is not known, let's say, from our customers. How do we use, let's say, connected data? For sure, respecting the regulation like GDPR and so on. But we as Audi are also working on improving our own products. All the buttons of our current cars are already tracked thanks to connected car. So I know that if I put a button, for example, to get the volume of your radio on the passenger side, if I'm able to get the information that it's mainly the driver who is using that button, what, I don't know, let's say 10 times a day, maybe for the next cockpit, so for the next generation of our product, this button has to be placed on the driver's side, no more on the passenger side. And if this button is quite often used, let's say more than 3 times in a specific ride, maybe this button has to say, let's say, physically button, and not a specific digital menu that you will have, let's say, to jump directly into your screen just to search on that. So thanks to connected cars and through data, we are also improving our products, and this is clearly valuable when we are going in the direction of autonomous driving. All the design, for example, of the Audi Skyfair concept, which is just on your right, has been based also on all those data that have been collected to improve the display and all the user experience inside the car. That's to say it was designed from the inside to the outside.
That's great, because it's a direct feedback from the customer to the brand.
It is. That's also, let's say, to improve customer experience at the end.
So let's see now data as a revenue stream.
Yeah. That's also, we still have, let's say, this one as an example, also linked, let's say, to autonomous driving. Nowadays, all the Audis that are already on the street are collecting data, and also we are generating information about the driving habits of our customers, and especially on the road. You have the speed limits on the right hand, for example. The car knows that maximum speed limit is 80 kilometers per hour. That's the official speed limit. But when you are driving in a curve, you have the maximum speed limit, and you have, let's say, the comfort speed on which the car has to drive to get the pleasure of driving. And those are also information that the brand is currently collecting to improve already and in advance, and to be prepared for the level 4 or level 5 of autonomy, to ensure that this curve, based on the today's car on the road, have to be passed not at 86, but have to be passed automatically and programmed directly at 72 kilometers per hour to get, let's say, the perfect, comfortable customer experience of our drivers.
We have to say at this stage that Audi is one of the owners of HERE technologies that deliver the HD maps in order to make possible autonomous cars.
Exactly.
That's very important.
That's clearly everything's linked. Let's say, as I said, it's all about data. Navi system, Navi information lies all the cartography, all the mapping, and so on, and that are highly valuable, as you can imagine, for an autonomous driving cars.
And data coming from Audi cars feed this database as well.
That are coming from Audi cars is also highly valuable. You asked just before, let's say, about new revenue streams. That's also something highly important, let's say, for car manufacturers and a brand such as Audi. I know what you, other driver, are using. I know, for example, that's another example as it's much more explicit in that way. I know which kind of radio you are hearing during the traffic jam. For sure, this information is highly valuable for tomorrow when the car will be autonomous, since this is an information that I can resell directly to media providers. Since tomorrow, when you will be directly seated in your cars, the car will drive on its own. You will do something else. You won't drive anymore. But for sure, this media space will be highly valuable for media buyers. I know that you, as the customers, when you are driving from Paris to Roubaix, for example, directly on the speedway, are hearing this kind of radio. So I can sell that directly to advertisers.
I would like to hear about Car2X because it's the next big challenge.
That's the next. So Car2X, that's the communication between the car and an external IT system. We are doing the differentiation between car-to-car technology, so it's a car who is communicating with another car, thanks to a cloud technology just in between, and a car who is communicating with the external infrastructure, for example, smart cities. Let's have a look on two examples. First one, Car2X, in order to increase comfort, securities, and so on. I have an Audi who is driving 10 kilometers in front of you. This Audi, unfortunately, has a breakdown. The information first things secure our customers. So the car is automatically calling the emergency, providing your location and the number of passengers in the car. But all the more, the information of the crash Audi is coming to the Audi secured cloud, and the information is forwarded back to the other's Audi to tell them, hey, take care, there's an accident in front of you, maybe you are unsecured, and adapting all these security services. So that's the first part. We are also dealing, for example, with traffic sign recognition.
Yes, this is very interesting.
Yeah, traffic sign recognition, you know, let's say the speed limit with a high-resolution camera, but we are also now having, let's say, some pilot, first on the US, and the last one was launched on Germany, where the car is able, let's say, to deal directly with the traffic lights.
And you can have the green light.
You can have the grid lights.
If you know if you have to accelerate or brake before.
Exactly. You can have the grid lights if you will follow, let's say, the recommendation of the car. The car will know at which speed you will have to drive to get the next traffic light on a green and not on a red. First point. The other advantage regarding the user experience is if you are driving that way, I know which traffic light is red at which seconds. So I can also improve the timing you should arrive directly at your destination.
And when we will get this in France, because I'm pretty looking forward to get it.
Unfortunately, I'm not able to provide any dates about that. This time it's a pure technological issue. That's to say we need to standardize everything.
It works in the US, in Germany as well?
Works in the US, works in Germany, but the smart cities is much more depending, let's say, from the cities, for example, like Paris or Bordeaux, than, let's say, on the car manufacturers. And all the more, car manufacturers have to agree on their own to define, let's say, a standard communication channel between cars and smart cities. But that's clearly the future.
So let's see next chapter.
Let's go on the next chapter. Next chapter is about digital experience. We spoke about the car. Car is now a smartphone on wheels. On that smartphones, we are providing highly personalized data. Data based on the sensor, so all the data generated directly by the car, but also data that the brand is owning about you. For example, with your personal space, your personal ID on the brand. That's called My Audi. All those data are merged with the one with the car. We are also providing and getting data out of our retailers, our partners who are selling the car or doing the maintenance. And all those data have to be merged all together to provide the best-in-class customer experience in the automotive industry. That's clearly the target.
Fantastic. And maybe you're one of the best skilled car makers in the world in this field, connectivity and the link with customers.
We are aiming to.
You try to, of course.
We are aiming to. Let's say the only who can answer that question are our customers, finally. But to jump also, let's say, on when we are dealing with data,
it's all about software. And let's talk about CARIAD.
CARIAD is part of. It's all about software and it's all about security. That's clearly one of the key points, let's say, in the future. We spoke yesterday about trust in technologies. As soon as we are dealing with data, we are dealing with hacking, especially for a connected car. The group decided some years ago to build, let's say, an entire software company called CARIAD, meaning Car I Am Digital. This entity is now regrouping more than 7,500 developers.
Within the whole Volkswagen group.
For the whole brand of the group. So more than 7,000 developers already, and they want to jump up to, let's say, 10,000. So if you want, let's say, to join us, please apply. And they are dealing with this kind of information and these kind of topics. Data security, since as soon as you are opening a communication channel between a car and an external infrastructure, you are taking risk to be hacked. And for you, for sure, we are taking care of that. We are paying attention. And just remind that nowadays, an automotive, a car, an Audi, is much more close regarding, let's say, the building process from what is done within the airplane industry than close to the smartphone one. If someone is hacking your smartphone, okay, you're going to lose data. It's a pity. If someone is hacking your car, especially when it's going to be autonomous, and is telling you, hey guy, at the next frontier, at the next exit, I will not let you stop the car. Instead, you are paying me with 10,000 bitcoins immediately. I let you imagine the dreamer. We are dealing about life of our customers. Reason why, for example, all the systems into our cars are redundant built. They are a part of the car which is clearly not accessible from the outside to secure all the emergency system to ensure they are not being hacked.
I think it was the last slide, isn't it?
We are almost at the end. You're totally right, Laurent. As you probably understood, we are dealing with data, we are dealing with connected cars, we are dealing with external IT environment and IT system to provide the best-in-class customer experience at Audi. And for sure, connected car is the prerequisite of the next step of the automated driving first, so the famous level 4, as you can see on this concept car, and within the next decades of the fully autonomous driving, for sure.
And we can expect that soon Audi will be ready for level 3, level 4.
Level 3 is already ready, let's say, from a technical. It's mainly nowadays, let's say, linked to laws, so regulation internally. They're going to have, let's say, a change this summer in July, on which level 3 cars will be authorized, let's say, to drive on our roads, on our specific use cases, so less than 60 kilometers, only on speedways and so on. So nowadays, the challenges is no more on the technological side. It's much more, let's say, on the regulation and standardization of the technology and, let's say, data interface.
I can't believe it. Is it already the end of this talk?
It is, I guess,
It
unfortunately.
is. Thanks
a lot. Bye-bye.